Are we live? Yay, we're live. Woohoo! Welcome back to our show. This is my channel. I'm Melissa. We are a House of the Dragon. No, actually, it is Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. That's the whole name of the show. And this was episode 10, the last episode of the entire season. And I don't think we're getting any new ones until 2024, which is crazy. And the episode title was The Black Queen. Because it, stars all of the blacks. Last week we had the green episode and then we had the black episode. So I thought that was really interesting, kind of like a two-parter. So click the like, leave me the comments. I'm going to go to the recap and then tell you my rating, and then my lovely guest host will tell you their ratings. So please let me know your ratings in the comments and be sure to like and all that stuff. So I'm going to jump into the recap because it was a lot to digest. So we open up with the map on the table. Viserys says he doesn't want Driftmark. He is freaking out. He's just not about this life, very much like Aegon was before he got his crown. Rhaenys comes and she tells him that the king is dead and they're being usurped. Daemon is pissed and Rhaenyra is looking hurt. And Rhaenys warns them that they need to leave Dragonstone. We get another birth scene, for goodness sake. I wrote that down. I was like, there's a lot of births in this show. Daemon is already giving orders of attack and he's planning this war while he hears Rhaenyra, who is giving birth way too early. She's obviously having a premature labor child. Jace and Luke are practicing and Luke is weak. He is losing. The sea snake, he's back. He is healed and he's alive and he's sailing to, we don't know yet at this point. Jay says that they shouldn't do anything because mom says so. Daemon speaks to the Kingsguard, two of the guys, and he gives them a choice. Swear fealty to Rhaenyra or die screaming. And he did this as a lesson to Jace to show how you get loyalty. So we see Rhaenyra give birth to a stillborn child. This was a rather graphic scene. And then we see a funeral for the baby. This kind of really mirrored what Viserys went through in the first episode. Tragic. Sir Eric, I don't know which one, he comes through and he has defected and he recognizes Rhaenyra as his true queen. They all bend the knee. Rhaenys is left and she does not bend the knee. Somehow they are okay with this. I feel like if this was Otto, he'd be like, get that bitch out and kill her. They meet in the battle room and they're speaking of what allies they have. Daemon says that they have more dragons and he has a plan. Rhaenyra doesn't seem convinced. Otto shows up and says Aegon is offering terms. Daemon says, nah. Otto says the house is already receiving their terms and that Rhaenyra says that they've already been sworn to her, though. And Otto says that doesn't matter, and Rhaenyra calls him a traitor. Otto hands Rhaenyra a friendship memory from Alicent to appeal to her, and Rhaenyra seems to be considering the terms. She wants peace and not death. Daemon is like, are you serious? Rhaenys is still seen smirking. I think she was like very mysterious through most of this episode. Rhaenyra tells Daemon of the whole the Song of Ice and Fire prophecy. Daemon tells her it's BS while he is choking her. And she realizes that he didn't know about this. I don't know why she's surprised because it's only thing that the heirs are told. We finally see the sea snake. He's alive again, and Rhaenys tells him off for going off to battle. She's, deeply still hurt by this, which is understandable. And he tells her, I didn't know what to do. I was lost with my life. He tells her that she was right, and he was too ambitious, just like his brother. He says that they shouldn't declare with anybody and that they should go and fuck off somewhere else. And she tells them that Aegon is a threat to their fake grandkids. Corlys says that she has House Valerion's support, and Rhaenyra says that she wants to know the allies before she sends them to war. Corlys says that the Narrow Sea is there. Jay says that they should be sent to see the allies because they're faster than ravens. She makes them make these promises to not fight and to just send a message. They swear on their Bible. I thought that was a really insane mission to go on with like no backup, but okay. Daemon is singing in a cave. He's slowly going deeper into this cave. And then we see he's coming closer to some dragon. I don't know what dragon this is because he already has one. So why do they need, because he kept saying that we already have so many dragons. We're good. But he is singing to this dragon. We don't know which one this is yet. Luke reaches Storm End, but oh shit, there's Vhagar in the corner. He's parked. And then he goes in to the castle there. And we already see Aemon has already beat him to it. Lord Boros is not pleased with the note. He feels like he was not made a very good offer. And he's like, you know what? Tell your mom I said no. Go back home. Aemon wants a fight. Actually, he specifically wants Luke's eye. He is still harboring this revenge about having lost an eye, even though he has the biggest dragon. Hello. So Luke, he makes it back to his dragon. It just starts to rain. He seems kind of spooked and afraid, and he's trying to fly off and try to get home as quickly as he can. But then we see Vhagar flying over him, and I am reminded how big this dragon is. I was like, oh crap. Damn, he's probably gonna die. And then we see they're kind of flying around each other. I think Aemon is trying to like scare him. He's laughing like a freaking villain. Anyway, Vhagar kills Arax and presumably, and I wrote down presumably Luke because I feel like we didn't see his dead body, but he is dead. And Aemon looks like he's in trouble. Aemon looks like, oh crap, I think I killed him. Daemon tells Rhaenyra the bad news. She looks pissed, and the episode ends. And that is my recap of episode 10 of The Black Queen. Now we're going to talk about our ratings of the episode. Once again, remember, it is 1 through 5 dragons. So, Andres, start with you. How do you rate this episode?
Wow, we're starting with me. Okay. I think this is really fair. I'm going 3.5. Going 3.5. I think it was actually a pretty good episode, but some of the things didn't like fully work for me. I want to talk more about the birth scene because maybe you saw more on like after that episode. I just had like a lot of questions with like what they were really trying to say with it. I thought the same thing about it mirroring episode 1. I didn't really like what they did with Daemon's character a little bit, making him like really power hungry and like abusive at some point. Like, I don't know. It just felt like kind of back to those first couple episodes where I couldn't get a grip on him. I was like back there again. And then Aemond, when like I don't like that they made it like an accident that he killed his like he was chasing him, he wanted his eyeball, and then all of a sudden he kills him, and it's like, oh, what? I really, really didn't like that. But back to like why I gave it a good score. It did kind of feel like something happened that like moved things forward in a way that I didn't expect for the first time in a few episodes. Like, we all knew Viserys was going to die. We knew either Rhaenyra or Aegon where he's going to be crowned and there was going to be a war, but we didn't know like what was going to fuel it. And this feels like the first big death, and that's why I kind of feel like it felt more like an episode 9 than an episode 10. Like, classically, if you look back on Game of Thrones, I'm surprised it like ended at this point with like a big important death. But yeah, 3.5.
Cool. That was like nice and long. Okay. Age. No, I like that. Age. How do you rate
It
this?
was a 4 for me. I thought it started off a little womp womp, and then it got a lot better. I thought they handled the tension really well in that scene where you're like, oh no, this little snack is going to turn into a snack, and you're just watching. Like, I was watching the negative space in all the shots with the dragons. I was like, Vhagar's in the shadows. Like, Vhagar is in, like, you'd see the kids like a tiny little part of the frame. You're like, Vhagar's over there somewhere. They played me so hard. They did that like 3 times, and then finally Vhagar was there and I was over it. I'm assuming in the books it wasn't an accident.
I have questions.
I feel that way too. Yeah.
I like that it was an accident though, because I also like that the whole thing with Alicent is a misunderstanding. Also, they need to stop with this stupid Song of Ice and Fire shit. Like, the first episode, blah, this time, blah, just stop mentioning it. No one cares. I don't want to be the Queen of Fire and Ash. Like, everything that sounds like Game of Thrones makes me mad. As fans of Game of Thrones, I don't want to hear about Game of Thrones. Just shut up. It ended bad. I don't care. Melissa, how many dragons?
I also rated it 3.5. I thought it was solid. I saw like the steps. I feel like every time it is like more steps, more bricks being built in this rift of this war that is going to happen. So I feel like things moved along there, and I was engaged, and I thought it was. I was engaged seeing how everybody was talking about how to handle the war and what are the next steps. And yeah, I'll talk more when we get into deeper into the conversation, but I rated 3.5. And I will say I have yet to use a 5 score for this entire season.
Oh yeah, I haven't rated anything a 5 either. I
No.
think maybe like we didn't talk about I wasn't on the episode where Viserys finally passed away. I would have given that one a 4.5. I thought that was the best one of the season, but no,
Yeah.
there was nothing close to a 5, really.
And we still don't know who gets his model kit, but there is a really cool LED table at Dragonstone.
It was really
Stannis
cool.
should have been using that table all along.
That's right. Yeah, that was a pretty cool table. Good point.
I was using that.
That was a Home Depot sponsored table project.
Yeah.
Stayed there. Okay, so do we want to start with the end? Because that was like
that was a lot
that happened. I'll just put up.
That's the best character in the show.
So I like agree. I'm like, yo, you're flying overhead in the rain with your dragon. What did you think was going to happen? Like, you're surprised you killed this kid?
Just play around with a nuke. You can't just like nuke him a little bit.
Yeah, like you have Vagar, motherfucker. What did you think was gonna happen? You tried to like.
How old is he supposed to be? He's just like a stupid. I just see them as like teenagers in the 1950s who just got cars.
That was great. Like you said that too, Melissa, right? Like you never really realized how much bigger.
Yeah,
the
like
one dragon.
Oh, I knew.
All the rest.
I know that she's the biggest dragon, but I guess like you don't see her, so I forgot. So like
I
was a really.
But
cool
the kid had a small one. His was tiny. He had a coop.
I didn't know it could like chomp it in one bite.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a possibility the whole time.
She's not only the biggest one, but she's like one of the original conquering dragons too. So that like is really significant there. But I thought that was a really dope shot of her like flying over him because it's making like the terror. Because I was feeling like anxious. I was like, oh my God.
They did that really well. There was a lot of tension.
Very well. And I again questioned the fact like, why would you send these two barely teenage boys onto this crazy dangerous mission?
Because they had dragons.
I guess, but I mean, even Daemon says early in the episode, dragons can kill dragons. Like they're not invincible. They can get killed.
So I liked hearing them talk about how many dragons they have access to.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So what was the dragon?
Huh?
What was the spooky dragon that needed braces?
I have no idea what that dragon is. So
and like what would be the point of claiming two dragons?
Two dragons.
Well, I mean, what's his face was down there all like singing like Ariel, the Little Mermaid, to the dragon.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing, the more dragons, the better because they're in a war. Well, he's
but like you can't ride two dragons at once. They need to give one to the other little girl. Whatever, I don't know the girls' names.
In case his dragon dies, he'll have a backup dragon.
Yeah, they need all the people to be riding dragons. The whole family.
Yeah.
How rude.
So I want to hear y'all's thoughts about Aemon in his actions, in his character here.
He's a silly boy. I love watching him every episode.
I've loved Aemon this whole time, but I didn't like that. Like, I just kill your nephew. It's fine. Like, you're in a war. I think.
Well, okay, see, you just said it. I think because both sides are trying to not have a war happen. Like, I get he's just trying to like play around with him, maybe like get his eye and not start a war. Yeah,
exactly. I didn't like that. Like,
I get that, but again,
what is his eye?
You're flying your dragons in the rain. What did you think? Like, of course, there's a possibility that he was going to die. You can't fuck with him in the sky.
Well, we're adults. They're kids. But what's his eye?
Is like that just 30 years old?
I just like, I feel like I'm getting a little tired of like, nobody's bad. Everything's a mistake.
Oh, I agree. I do. Like every change they've made is to make it ambiguous. And you're right. It's nice to just have some evil characters every now and then.
But it's not even like ambiguous, really. It's like, no, they're really, really good people trying to do the right thing. Almost like it almost feels like too much. Like,
you know how you know they're bad in House of the Dragon? The foot fetish. If you have a foot fetish, you're bad.
Oh my gosh! Don't say that to the people who are watching this who have that kink. It's fine. You're okay.
It's the show. It's the show. It's the bigotry of the show. not us.
Bigger to the show, yes.
But yeah, I don't like just let somebody decide to kill someone and
I feel
be
like Daemon
wrong,
does that.
you know?
Daemon's pretty purposeful
Yeah,
when he kills someone.
that was one of the coolest moments of the season when Daemon like actually kills that guy. We were all like, I think.
And his brother was like, huh!
Yeah.
That's all the reaction he got. Your brother's dead. Oh.
I liked seeing Aemon. So at first, when I saw him there, I was like, oh, he already beat them to it. And they did make a deal with him, right? They're gonna betroth his daughter with someone from the.
Are you talking about Lord Corlys or the Riverlands? No, the
Aemon
Stormlands
and the
guy.
Baratheons. Did they
Yeah.
make a deal?
He's
Like,
definitely marrying one of the daughters.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
It was
that-
that
And,
girl
the
standing
little guy
next to him
couldn't
with the
do
dark
it.
hair. What?
The little guy couldn't do it. He couldn't.
Yeah, because
make
he's
the promise.
betrothed to his cousin.
Damn, I felt so bad for him.
Yeah,
He was-
but I
He
think
was
it was
there
definitely,
doing the message.
it was definitely foreshadowed that he was gonna die because he couldn't even beat his brother, and his brother was like, "You're weak."
I had a lot of respect for the Lord of the Stormlands because he was just like, go on, pup, don't let the kids fight here. Like, he wasn't feeling his offer or lack thereof, but at least he seemed like a decent fellow in this universe.
Yeah,
and they also did you see, have we ever seen the Stormlands in Game of Thrones? I don't think so. I like that they had like
it looked like the Eyrie. I thought at first, he went to the Eyrie because it had like that dome. Like
no, the other one was going to the Eyrie.
That's where I thought.
You're right. I think maybe we haven't seen it, but maybe, I don't know. Was Stannis ever there? Because he would be the one, right? Or Renly.
No,
like the
Stannis
Baratheon
was
place.
always at Dragonstone for some reason. I think Storm's End either doesn't exist by the time of Game of Thrones, because like why would we have seen it?
I feel like I remember hearing about it though. Maybe just in stories.
Maybe that's
tales.
Remember that guy that had a name that was like the something fish, the rainbow fish, the blackfish?
Blackfish.
Was that where he was?
I liked him a lot. So, do we have any last words for Viserys Valeryon, who died
Rip.
in the episode?
Literally rip. Oh, he was a snack.
Oh man. Well, we all loved that one time that he was like, "But everyone will be dead," and at least that didn't happen.
He loved peace, and he turned into pieces.
I felt like he was kind of like too weak to even do any of this though, because he didn't want the lands and the title. He didn't want it at all. He's like, people are, it's kind of like
just vibing.
I mean, yeah, a lot was forced on him really fast at a young age. And
you're not gonna make it in Game of
Thrones. He wasn't ready.
But how many children are there now? They said that Rhaenyra had given birth 5 times.
5, and then he has.
We see 3, and then there's Aemond, and apparently one of them's named Viserys.
Aemond.
We haven't seen.
I think she's got one named Aegon and Viserys.
Yeah, she has Aegon, Viserys.
Oh gosh, I said the wrong name.
Aemond has his kids from his previous marriage.
You know what? Alicent's offer was good.
Yeah. Chris Dang says R.I.P.
R.I.P. Can we talk about Rhaenyra so we can talk about her kids, I guess, a little bit, and that birth scene?
Rhaenyra Targaryen. She is given the news that her dad has died and her throne is being usurped, and she goes into early labor and loses a child. What are your guys' thoughts on this whole scenario?
We can't have an episode about this show and not talk about birth, apparently.
I know, there's so many births.
Birth control.
So inside the episode, they talked about how it's like a battle. She's battling. This is like her battle that she's going through. Like the stress of like the whole like usurping and like her father dying, and then she's going through her own battle during this time that she is giving birth.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that. Like it was a stress-induced miscarriage, and like were they trying to say something about like her like general strength compared to like this moment that kind of took out her mother in the beginning? Like she's just there like rah. That I was like thinking that might be part of it too. And then is there going to be like, well, I guess this kind of answers my question now that like her living son died, but I was wondering if there would be like an element of like vengeance because like you made me so angry and my baby died.
You got to come back season 2 for vengeance. That's in season 2.
2024. That's insane.
Oh, fine.
Well, you know what? They need that time because this season had issues.
It wasn't up and down.
We talked about him.
It was an up and down.
I think season 2 will be better. I think now that we're not skipping time like this anymore, like it has to get better.
Slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked seeing how she navigated this whole situation because, and Rhaenys said it in the episode, she was the only one who had like a cool head about it and who showed her straight and who she actually doesn't want a whole bunch of like, blood and dust. She wants what her dad wanted was just to keep the realm together and in peace. So I thought it was an interesting choice that she looks like she's actually considering those terms because she doesn't want all of the bloodshed and whatnot. So I like seeing that with her character.
Hey, do you guys?
She was a silly banana this episode. What?
She was a super silly banana.
No, she did something silly. It was when she brought up, she's like, the Song of Blood and Fire. And Matt Smith is just like, anyway, back to the war.
That.
I hated that.
Yeah, I hated it too, actually.
Right? Like the king told her, I only told this to the heir. Why would she think that the brother knows?
Yeah, I guess she thought like weird. That point when Daemon was like the legal heir, maybe he knew. But didn't seem like something that was going to happen. What was I going to say? Damn it. Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say. I made a prediction that Rhaenyra would be queen. She had that nice crowning scene. Not the birth scene. The scene where she was crowned.
Really good for that. Like the way that they brought in the music back again. I thought that scene was really strong. And also Daemon gets to crown Viserys the last time that Viserys got his crown put on his head. And Rhaenyra, and that was nice.
Yeah. I was wondering if you guys thought my prediction counted because she's kind of queen. But
there's
it's like
but there's a rebellion. Somebody else is calling themselves king.
It just depends, I guess, what team
she's not.
Wait, what prediction?
She's not.
I did predict that she would be queen. And, depending on what house you're in, you might think she's the rightful queen right now.
She's not on the Iron Throne, though, so I don't think that counts.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. That's why I was asking. But, there's going to be houses that support her as, like, the rightful queen, for sure.
Yes, and that bothered me because I think early on, they're like, we got to get, the Baratheons and the Starks. And I thought, okay, those ravens have already been sent. And then I didn't realize, oh, wait, I'm going to send my sons because I still haven't done this thing yet. And like Otto and his team have already like reached out to these people. Like, why are you slow stepping? Why is everything like slow moving on Dragonstone? That bothered me.
Wait, they didn't know though.
What do you mean they didn't know?
They didn't know the king was dead.
Yeah,
but they heard that he died.
It took 2 days.
And then they talked about reaching out to the allies. And then they didn't. And then I thought, like, in that moment,
they sent the ravens.
The ravens were sent, but they weren't sent. The dragons were sent.
Yeah, they didn't know what the hell they were going to do. It seemed like they don't know if they're going to go to war or.
I guess they just assumed that she was going to become queen. They must have just assumed that the Greens weren't going to do anything at all, which is just a stupid assumption, knowing them. Like, knowing Otto. Like, all of us watching the show, like.
Yeah, but they're not watching the show. They don't, I mean.
But I don't think we saw anything that intense. I just don't think that we saw anything that was that, like, obvious, like, Otto scheming. Like, actually, like, we haven't seen enough of Otto to say, like, for sure he's a bad guy. So, like, I just think that Rhaenyra grew up with these people. She spent years around these people. Like, why are you surprised they did this?
It's kind of like there are no bad guys in this show because every time somebody actually does something that could be considered kind of bad, it ends up being by accident.
Fine.
I have
your point stands.
I have a good transition into Daemon. Did you guys? Well, first of all, in general, he was like really power hungry this episode. But I noticed like when they,
violent. I don't like that he was choking his wife.
But his brother just died.
Yeah,
he choked his wife.
This is medieval times.
Did you notice that when they handed him the crown, they like kind of did that shot where he was like looking at it? Like, I think they were trying to pound in even more that like he kind of wants.
But also the last time he saw, the last time he saw his brother, he was wearing that crown too. So like you could interpret it either way.
I guess so, but I just felt like they kept.
He always wants war.
He wants war, Criston,
Likes to
but I
fight.
think he also wants like power for himself, man. Like
I don't know
I
what
don't
he
know,
wants anymore.
Well,
He kind of
No,
went into dad
I'm
mode.
confused by him a
I
little
think
bit.
that makes sense because it goes back to that episode where when Rhaenyra was still a child and Viserys
Yeah.
goes to him saying, "You ruined my daughter. Who will take her now?" And he's like, "I'm gonna be like Aegon the Conqueror. I'm gonna have 2 wives. I'm gonna have my dragons, and we're gonna rule as the Targaryens." So I think like he wants the power as well.
At the beginning, they really made it seem like that's all he was about, and then it kind of went away. And now I feel like I see it again in this episode.
I think that there's also an element of self-destruction, like the times that he would go into town and like him and the guards would like cut off people's hands and crap and enjoy it. And you know what happened to that Daemon? He's been gone for a while. He just turned into like a stepdad for like 2 episodes, which comprised of what, 7 years?
Yeah,
7
weird.
years
I thought
of
they were
nothing.
making him like good husband, loyal guy to Rhaenyra who will like kill for her, but then this episode was totally not that. So
No.
Well,
I'm
he
just
wants
not
to go
sure
to war for her. I mean, I think he's really
but he
pissed
wants to
off.
go to war
It's not
like
for her.
despite what she wants, you know?
Yeah, it's
that
more like
scene
for
where-
his brother.
Like when her kid comes in and is like, "Hey, the queen does not want this." He's like, "Good thing you're here. You could help us with war."
Let's go do war. Have you ever
Um,
done war before, kid?
yeah, I think he is out here trying to gain some. I think it's also about the pride. Like, it's like, how dare they even try to usurp and not listen to what my brother said? And there was already a promise made to my wife. We can't let this, you know.
Yeah, but Melissa, you forgot one important thing.
Mhm.
Rhaenyra has boobies. Can't do it. Sorry. Baratheon house out.
Baratheon house?
It was literally the Baratheons in the episode that said no.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
Baratheons.
be dramatic.
Yeah, they wanted something in return, even though they made an oath, I guess, is the
I feel like
Well,
idea.
it wasn't him, it was his papa.
True.
It was more about like, you need to give me something, you know, I need to have some power too, and not just because like, I don't think it was because like she's a woman only, you know what I mean?
Who do we think actually could win the war?
Who do we think could win the war?
The people who have the most dragons?
It seems like that, but then you see like the one dragon chomp the little one in one bite, and it's like, I mean, it's the size of the dragon too, you know?
Yeah, the size matters.
I think the only part of Rhaenyra's team that might be able to like turn the tide is actually the sea snake. Like that guy has seen battle, but like
about him,
all of King's Landing.
He's back after 6 years of being in battle, and at first
he had COVID.
He seemed very remorseful. He was like, "You were right, Rhaenys. I shouldn't have been so ambitious. You know, like people are dead." And she's like, "Well, you know what? Aegon is going to be king. He is king, and he's probably going to want to like kill our grandchildren. So we got to make a decision." So she's like, "No, like we have to fight." Well, he was like, "Let's not take sides." But she's like telling him, "No, bitch, let's do this."
Meanwhile, what was the son's name? Laenor and his buddy Carl are just like reading the newspaper, like sitting on the beach, like, "Oh shit, there's war."
Well, Chris Dang.
Carl?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Carl with the Q. I thought he died, but it was his younger brother. Well, we didn't know if Corlys, because they kept saying like he was really mortally wounded, so we didn't know still if he officially died. So
here's how I felt about Corlys. I was ready for him to just be gone.
Because he was gone for so long.
Now I'm confused.
Like 3 episodes.
Now I'm confused. I feel like he's doing the stuff that I was prepared for Rhaenys to be doing.
But I think Rhaenys has no power. I think she has to defer to him.
Yeah, I mean, in the show, but I feel like she was kind of making like all the moves while he was gone, and I was ready for that.
You mean the move where she didn't burn everybody when she had the chance? You mean the non-move?
I hated that.
A horrible mistake.
And I don't. She tried to explain it away, and I'm still not said with it. But
yeah, she said it wasn't my war to start, right?
Exactly.
She said that, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, she was doing things without Corlys, and now I feel like Corlys is there, and I guess maybe, yeah, he'll be good to have in the war for the
He
Blacks.
could, and then maybe he ends up betraying the Blacks. Who knows? Because he kind of seems he's not really a Rhaenyra fan. He's doing
You know
this.
who I don't trust?
His
I
wife.
don't trust him, and I don't trust Eric.
I put them here. I don't know which one came to Dragonstone, so I put Eric or Eric.
I don't trust him.
I don't know.
The fact that he has a twin and both of them are separated, it's like a CIA's wet dream.
Like an inside man, like a
Yeah. I don't trust him.
Well, with the way these writers do stuff, I could definitely see a miscommunication happening.
Between who and who?
God damn.
Because somebody thinks Eric they're talking to the wrong twin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They got the wrong Eric. They said the wrong thing. Boom. There you go. Espionage.
Yeah. But why would Eric, whichever one that's in King's Landing, be on Dragonstone? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure the writers will have a lot of fun coming up with ways.
But that's how you spy.
To have the classic twin mix-up.
I don't know who is who. I don't know who defected, which is why I wrote down Eric or Eric. I don't know who.
We can just call Black Eric and Green Eric.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I don't trust them.
Maybe that will be a more interesting character. And then we got to see, do we have any more things? Okay, I feel like I couldn't get a read on her for most of the episode because
she didn't bow.
She didn't bend the knee, and somehow they didn't question her about that. They just let her fuck off. And then after they were having some conversation in the war room, we see the camera go to her and she's smirking. I was like, what is her deal? What's her motivation? And then we get that moment between her and her husband, and I guess she is ready to fight and be on Team Black. But why linger that out? I don't know.
I think that was the editor's choice. I think that the editors just girl power, look, girl power. And I think that I didn't watch the behind the episodes, but I assume that in there they're she didn't bow because, it's a female queen and she was going to be the female queen. So it's almost like a mutual respect. The writers are probably going to make up some stupid shit like that.
Girl power.
I didn't read it as girl power. I read it as literally question mark. I didn't know her motivations. And inside the episode, they don't mention that at all.
Was it because her husband wasn't there?
I don't know.
That's the only thing.
I guess maybe she's trying to. I don't know. I guess
because she couldn't make the call to
Actually, I feel like you're never here live. How are you? You always comment after, so I appreciate you for coming in live. Hello.
Team Black all the way. All right. Yeah, I can't pick a side because they keep. I don't know.
I hate
that they don't give Team Green any agency,
What do you mean? They crowned Aegon.
Yeah, okay, that was a move, but then but that was over a misunderstanding, They didn't really get in there and do it.
They were going to do that anyway.
I think that Viserys said.
But they were planning that anyway. The small council was we were waiting for V to die so that we can do a little scheme.
But hypothetically, they wouldn't have had Alicent's support otherwise.
Oh, this is a new person. Fuck Team Green.
Yeah, nobody likes really Team Green.
Team Green's mental gymnastics. Oh, wait, wait. It's Team Black's mental gymnastics? I don't know. I think I was Team Green 2 episodes ago.
You were. You like Otto.
Oh, I just like Otto because I don't understand him and I want to.
So Team Green is bad. I think I've chosen a side officially, and it's mostly because you got to go with what the king said. And if you're going against him, that is treason. He said what he said. He didn't change his mind in 20 years. You all are usurpers.
No, you're right.
But not Alicent because she thinks she heard him say something else.
Oh, who cares?
She's not reliable. She was
who cares?
I know. Isn't that so silly? Damn.
No. I'm saying this as an observer of the show. All you all are wrong. Viserys said it's Rhaenyra. You all bent the knee. You all are traitors. You're betrayers.
Yeah, their word means nothing. I mean, I get it. We have a whole war because people do take both sides. They both have pretty legitimate claims, but I think I'm a fan of characters on this show. I don't really care about the team so much. Like Otto, I just want to know what's in his head. Aemond is just like king best boy ever. And then like on Team Black, like I mean, Daemon used to be cool. I don't know what happened to him. He's kind of like Kanye, you know, like I can't really support him anymore.
I'm a fan of how she's handled herself so far while planning this war, which is trying to not cause bloodshed. So I think so far, like as like queenly duty,
That was
like
good.
so far, yeah, like that's been pretty good.
But Team Green's offer was really decent. Except the thing is, they could just not honor it 5 minutes later and kill everybody.
That's what I was thinking, because that's what he said that he would do. Otto plans to kill Rhaenyra and Daemon. Like he knows they're never gonna bend the knee.
So in the book, it's better because it's a lot more clear cut. It's about like whether or not Viserys even had the right to do that, since it goes against precedent. So it's basically like rule of law versus like what the king said, you know? So there's
it's like a
kind of an argument.
amendment.
There's an argument to be had. Whereas this is kind of like, that's my son. And that's my boy. And
that's the whole show.
That was my dad.
That's my son.
It's like way more just like family argument in this. Whereas like they were in the book, they're talking about something that's like, how are things going to be done from now on?
Do they almost seem more reasonable?
That the king can just say who can be king.
So they want to put limits on the king's power? Is that like the
basically
argument?
I mean, well, from my understanding, I haven't like fully read that part of the book. I just kind of skim over like parts that are relevant to the episode. So maybe I'll know more once I like get to that part in the book. But yeah, I think there's definitely people outside of like the whole situation that it's just about that issue to them. So once you get closer, the Hightowers and Rhaenyra and stuff like have a more personal like take on it as well.
Otto touches upon this a little bit when he's talking to Rhaenyra on the bridge. He says like basically something like Viserys should have never made a decision like that, and everyone knows that except for you and him. So he kind of like touched on
exactly. They hint at it a few times throughout the season, but in the books it's just much more clear cut, and it doesn't have like, they don't depend so much on like miscommunication and like emotional things.
So is it like less sexism, more law?
Yeah, I guess the law in itself is kind of sexist, but
yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, what I'm trying to figure out is, like, is the show trying to artificially inject issues about, like, feminism that, like, perhaps were not there in the original work, which is not a bad thing, but, like, coming off of, like, Netflix's Dahmer, a lot of, like, messages were inserted without actually exploring them, and I do feel that almost in a certain way, like, as much as they're like, oh, she should be queen because she's a girl, like, they didn't really talk about the gender so much. They just showed women having birth a lot, and that bothers me.
Yeah, there could be an element of that. I think, like, from what I've seen, I feel like they're definitely trying to make it more about, like, the family, like, fighting and, like, the family dynamics. Like, they're really trying to focus in on the family characters and how this is, like, an internal fight. So they don't want to touch as much on, like, the greater consequences of, like, the realm itself. That's what I've taken away from it.
So more Succession, less Game of Thrones in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen that show.
Great show.
Do we have any more thoughts on Otto? He had one scene. It was a pretty good scene. He was bringing the terms of Aegon II's offering.
I didn't know if they were going to let him go home or not. The dragon was just there, like, blocking him in, like, double parking. And then I thought, like, she's like, you will have your answer on the morrow. So I'm like, are they going to stay at the Holiday Inn? They're like, certainly not going to let these dudes stay. But like, they didn't show the ships like on the shore or anything. So I don't know if Otto's just going to take his answer like via Raven, like later. That was kind of weird. Like, is he there or is he not there?
I don't know, because time works weird on this show.
Yeah, it does. It was also like a little bit of like a mini like Rhaenys scene where it's like, is she gonna do something like badass with the dragon now? Like we used to see.
No, she took his pin.
But she was just
pin,
like,
though.
reminder, I have a dragon. I could kill you at any time.
Exactly.
Yeah, Otto, you got this at
So-
Spencer's.
She
But
has to show
also,
her
you can go
power.
home.
She has to show her power, and I mean, if you're trying to prevent war, which I know that like we want to see like more bad people, but if each side is trying to prevent war and she didn't imprison him or kill him or whatever, like that made sense to me. Joseph Ashley, Otto should have died there. Daemon really wanted to kill him bad.
But if he had died, would anything happen? I guess. I
There
don't
would
know.
have been a war.
But we got there anyway.
We don't. Well, not yet. We don't know that yet. I liked when Rhaenyra something Otto. Oh yeah, like
With
smashed
Otto's pin.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. But is he just gonna get a new one?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like he could just get another one.
We'll
But
just upgrade it.
Principle of the thing. It's all figurative. Who else showed up in this episode? We got a little bit of what's his name? I created a banner for him today. He went off to wherever, the Eyrie, Viserys Valeryon, who was telling his brother he was weak. And I think in this moment it was foreshadowed that Viserys was gonna die because he's just like not cut out for this world. So
I had trouble figuring out who was the older brother and the younger brother for about 2 episodes.
yeah,
Yeah, Jace is the oldest one. I kind of
taller.
didn't think he would last as long. I don't know, but I guess it
Yeah,
makes
those
sense.
weak little strong boys.
He's a little more battle tested. I didn't see, honestly, you got a good point. I didn't see any of them lasting very long. These little strong boys.
Yeah, but I like that we're seeing more of, I guess, a backbone and like a not vicious, but I guess more of like a backbone from Viserys, because I think that means like he'll last a little bit longer, unlike his little brother who died. And who else do I have here? Nobody else. I think there's not like that many else. I do have Vhagar, who appeared in this episode.
It was a tight episode. Vhagar. Hey man, I did not know
what?
it was so
It
big.
It was a tight episode. I think pacing wise, this was probably the best one for me. Except like the beginning was a little slow, but once it picked up, this one really like had me.
I was into
that's
it.
Fair. It was really well done with pacing. Again, 2 episodes ago, the one where Viserys died, I think was the best overall, like even with pacing. But this one was also very good.
What did you guys think of the scene of when Otto hands Rhaenyra that page as like a friendship memory from Alicent? Did you guys have any thoughts about that? Was that like
I tried to read it. I was literally like squinting like this, trying to figure it out, and then I realized it didn't matter. It was just a page from a manga anyway.
I forgot what it was, but I think it's a page from that book that we were reading together on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only book we've ever seen in the entire show, so it had to be that one.
Yeah.
See, again, I feel like they're just playing a lot with the family dynamics instead of like the general like consequences of like the greater war and stuff. I mean, they obviously, Rhaenyra is like peace for the realm and stuff, but the thing that makes her consider not going to war is like our relationship.
But was it that war is bad and her husband disappeared for years? And
I thought it was like I want to protect the people of the realm as well, because
and keep it peaceful and not at war.
It was that, but like she was being pretty aggressive until she got handed that like paper of like reminder, Alicent loves you.
Well, because the other thing too is that like Viserys said that when dragons fight, everything burns, and she knows that. Like she seemed to be well versed in history and stuff, so like she has never been to war, but she understands like how bad it is in the long run. All these other men are just running around going to war like they're going to Valhalla. Like I don't know why Daemon wants to go back to war. I don't even understand Corlys to a certain extent. But like Corlys, like his kids are dead. Like I guess he doesn't
Daemon,
give a shit.
It kind of makes sense because Dragons Forever says they thought that scene with the page was also kind of BS, which I totally agree. But I think Daemon makes sense just because they kind of like set that up a little earlier in the season with like Viserys not wanting to get involved in the Stepstones, and Daemon's like, I'll just be the guy that goes to war and wins, and that's how I'll make my bread. So
Daemon
he's just kind
literally
of like
just
doing
said,
more
I'm
of
going to
that.
fight Crabman myself.
Yeah.
Give me
now
the
he's
crab man and I'll do it.
now he's just like, we got dragons to spare, buddy.
Going down my list to see if there's anything else that we can talk about. Rhaenys.
The show got better as the season went on.
Like the last 3 episodes.
I think it was a little uneven. I feel like, well, we're gonna have
went
like
up and
a
down.
full season recap episode. Is that
what we're doing next week?
It's a post-mortem episode. You hear it first, guys. We're not done yet. We have one live show left. So make sure you stick with us for one more episode. Hit subscribe, hit that bell, come back. We love having you guys. Dragons Forever, Joseph, Ashley, Chris Dang, and you random guys out there. We love it. Come back. I think we covered everything. Did we do it? This is like one of our shortest shows for like a season finale. This is crazy.
It was fine. It was good. It was tight.
Hey, just like the season finale itself, a little shorter than anticipated.
It was. Chris Dang. What? One more cool. See you next week. Ooh, yay. Yes. Nice. So gather your thoughts about everything, about all the episodes, the pacing, your favorite characters. We're gonna talk about it all and dive deep.
Are you gonna rewatch it?
Probably not.
Oh. Okay.
You can go ahead. If you want to do that and study for the postmortem episode,
I think I will.
Yes.
I'll read some more book parts.
And I will try to prepare some good questions for us. Do we have any predictions for season 2?
Rhaenyra is angry.
That's not a prediction. We already saw that.
She got extra angry.
It's gonna be a lot of dragon battles.
Yeah.
Draggles.
Oh wait, but the showrunner stepped down as the showrunner. He's the battle guy. So what's gonna happen? What's it gonna even look like?
You're so right. Good point. Maybe he'll direct, but he just can't showrun. But maybe he'll do like one episode. Don't know.
I guess. You know what? This episode felt like a movie.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. I feel like episode 9 was like the first act of that movie, and like this is like the second and third act of that movie.
I wonder what it would be like to watch both episodes back to back.
Do it.
Maybe that's something you could try.
Rhaenyra, is that considered wake up call? Not follow her father, Viserys footsteps. I don't know, but I really didn't like that. Like, I feel like why was he getting so violent with her?
I'm not sure. I know that when this episode leaked, people complained about that specifically. I already knew about that going into the episode. It just, I mean, is it out of character?
No, I mean,
probably.
We've seen him.
I feel like it is.
Is it out of character? Because he is like that wild card, but like this is somebody that he loves. So I didn't think he would.
Yeah, that was weird.
I just feel like it didn't make any sense for like the dynamic between him and Rhaenyra so far. They didn't set up that anything like that would happen.
But maybe they were trying to communicate his inability to get out his emotions about his brother, but like a really poor way of demonstrating that, if that's what they were trying to do.
Hey, whatever happened to whatever they were setting up when Alicent noticed that like Rhaenyra, I guess, tried to kill herself? Is that a thing?
No, remember that's when Alicent sliced her. That's
okay. So I just totally misread that. All right.
Yeah, that's the scar that she gave her.
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. So then MVP of the episode. Andres, go first again.
It's a weird one, but I guess I'll do Rhaenyra because, you know, it's all about her becoming queen, or, you know, maybe not. And her decision about whether or not to go to war. So that she's the character that drives the episode. Shout out as well to Luke. Is he the one that died?
Yeah,
the little boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Rhaenyra definitely showed restraint, and I think that shows a lot for like how mature she is compared to the other characters. So I also want to go with Rhaenyra, but with a shout out to Vhagar.
It's a 3-3. I was also gonna pick Rhaenyra because I felt like she was taking the right steps in this episode. I admired what she was doing, what she was saying, and yeah. So cheers to the Black Queen, the Princess of Dragonstone, and the Queen of the Andals, and the first man in her 10,000 names. Cool. All right, guys. For y'all watching this in the future, let us know your ratings of the episode and what you predict for season 2. And remember, we're coming back next week to have one more episode about this whole show. And yeah, so share it with your Game of Thrones friends. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell. And we see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for hanging.